The topic today is you don't need any friends. The very first point that we're going to cover up today is that loneliness is a product of your mindset. It is not a result of being physically alone. You might remember a time in your life when you were around certain people, but you still felt loneliness inside. Because even though you had people around you, there was still something missing inside of yourself, or there was something missing in the dynamic of that social company that didn't exactly fulfill all of your perceived needs or desires. And the truth is that being okay with being by yourself, it starts in your mind and it starts inside of your heart to be able to cultivate the energy and the necessary principles and beliefs that can help you to navigate being alive without needing other people around you at all times or even at all. Second thing that we're going to go over today is that you become the most like the 5 people that you spend the most time around. And the truth is that sometimes this influence can be a negative thing, and it can cause you to take your life in a direction that may not be an authentic representation of who you are, and it might actually be simply just a reflection of the influence that a certain person has on you. So if you feel this pressure to go out and be surrounded by people a lot, then maybe you should start to think about why is it that you are experiencing such things. And another question, how much time do you spend with yourself? Because if you become like the 5 closest people in your life, how close are you to your own self? How much do you actually know yourself? How much time have you spent alone, exploring different things, different information, or different concepts that are a reflection of who that you feel you are in and of yourself? And so one of the ways you can do this is by spending time alone and spending time in deep meditation inside the internal dialogue that's in your mind and reframing the thoughts that you have on a daily basis. The third thing here that we need to discuss is that being okay alone is literally the foundation for a better life. Because when you become okay with being alone, you give yourself the opportunity to reflect. You give yourself the chance to start to learn the process of detachment, and you learn how to not rely on the external aspect of having certain people around you and having friends and having people that you go out and you do things with. While these things can certainly add to the satisfaction that you receive, they are not the requirement to be living fulfilled, to be living a life that's defined by authenticity, by something that you are bringing into existence. So the fourth thing is that happiness, it comes from your internal, not from the external. So this means that although we tend to identify ourselves with these external things, such as who our friends are, the possessions that we have, the amount of money, what kind of a position we're in life. We have all of these external signals that are trying to define us. And many times we allow this to happen, and we allow our identity to be attached to these external things, and that is the source, or what we fall into the illusion of, is we start to believe that these things around us are actually the source of true happiness, when indeed this is not true. because happiness starts inside of the mind. It starts inside of your heart. It is not what happens to you, but how you respond to the things that happen to you that essentially defines your life. Now, the very fifth and final point that we are going to touch on here is that isolation is a great teacher, because it can teach you things about yourself that you're not able to recognize when you're surrounded by others, or when you're being distracted by different types of information that would otherwise take you away from where you are supposed to be, and it can take you off balance. So find ways to be alone, find ways to be socially isolated, and learn how to deal with that. Learn how to not be depressed. Learn how to not be anxious when you're alone by yourself. And perhaps it's something that we will cover later on in this channel as a subject. But this is going to conclude today's video. Please subscribe if you want to hear more in the future, and we will connect with you then.